step right up and get your tickets for another moment in gaming history.
Hi, welcome back to the GeekStorian. What we're going to talk about today is your next moment in gaming history. Now, this one is a pretty key moment. It's a very important moment, not only for arcades, but for video games as a whole. This is the invention of Space Invaders. The reason that this is so important is it really did a lot to shift the focus of video games from a niche market to a more mainstream market. So what we're going to talk about is the start of the development, how the hardware got made, a little bit about the software, and then we're going to talk about the popularity of the unit and what it did for video gaming as a whole. Now, I know a lot of us have already played versions of this game, and it may seem pretty tame by today's standards. But back in the day, this was massive. Stick around. In 1977, Tomohiro Nishikado began work on Space Invaders, taking inspiration from many of the games like Breakout to come up with the idea of not using a ball to break bricks, but to have humans defending the Earth against an incoming alien horde. However, the original concept of the game was to actually have them shooting at tanks and planes. However, the title executives were pretty uncomfortable with this idea, so Tomohiro reworked the targets to look like monsters, taking design inspiration from marine life like squids, crabs, and octopi. A not uncommon practice in the Japanese game design market, especially if anyone here has played any of the Darius series of games. Almost from the beginning, the game had a beleaguered development cycle and hardware-centric issues. You have to remember, this is the very early days of game development, and there weren't a lot of tools to help rapidly develop games like there are today. Many of the hardware and software tools for this had to be made from scratch, including using a number of microprocessors, the Intel 8080 to be exact, which we've actually talked about on this channel before, to build what's known as a barrel shifter, without going into too much of the logic, which would, well, blow this video dramatically, bore you all to tears, and risk a misunderstanding of a key part, leading to an angry mob of mathematicians coming after me. Yeah, let's not do that. Barrel shifter is a series of multiplexers, which is a device that can take multiple inputs, analog or digital, and give a single distinct output. This feeds them from one into another and is commonly used for speeding up the process of floating point calculations. So a barrel shifter allows you to do floating point calculations accurately and quickly. In short, this let him process the images on the screen faster and move them in a smoother, more satisfying way. Even still with this, he had issues getting things to animate as fast as he wanted due to the limitations of the hardware. Oddly enough, the key element that made the game so addictive was a result of the issues he had with this process. He found that due to the number of enemies, he couldn't actually move things very fast on the screen. But given the hardware design, their movement sped up significantly as fewer and fewer were on the screen. This issue that he basically just had no way to fix or compensate for due to the complexity of the design, he just decided, it's a feature, not a bug in design. Huh, sounds like some other modern companies I know. Another big feature of this game was the music. It was one of the earlier examples of a game to have music to go along with the sound effects of the monsters on the screen. And the ability to have the music speed up as the aliens sped up on the screen helped increase tension to the player in front of the game. It quite literally popularized the idea that music could change in according to what's happening on the screen, increasing immersion in the video game. I know what you're saying. What's the big deal? It was a complicated old game my phone would laugh at. Well, it had roughly 8 million daily players in Japan, with a revenue peaking at roughly $12 million a day. That's about $50 million a day in 2021. Just for perspective. And earned Taito profits over $500 million, or $2.1 billion in 2021. It was also heralded as ushering in the golden age of arcades and taking video games from a niche product to a mainstream one. So there you go, guys. What do you think of this one? Do you think this is a key moment in gaming history? Did this one pique your interest? Do you kind of want to go out and play Space Invaders now when you've never really messed with it before? Did you learn something about the invention of Space Invaders that you didn't know before? Hopefully it was interesting and informative for you guys. If I can ask you guys to do one more favor, kind of hit me up in the comments. Let me know what you guys thought about this one. Talk about your experiences with Space Invaders or different versions you played across multiple consoles. This thing's been around for ages and in new iterations. So it would not be out of the realm of possibility, at least for the majority of the clientele that comes to my channel, to have played this game before. Also, while you're there, don't forget to hit the like button and the subscribe button if you're not already subscribed. And until next time, happy gaming.